Welcome back in, everybody, to Pro Football Enterprises in collaboration with Box Score Network, whatever you are watching this on. I am Ben Parker. Just so most of you know, we're covering Chandler Rivers tonight. Most of the defensive players were ending up on Box Score Network. A lot of the offensive players are ending up on Pro Football Enterprises. So we really appreciate being with us tonight. Chandler Rivers, CB from Duke University. We don't get to cover too many Duke players, but we are covering one tonight. I'm going to rattle off quite a few notes here about Chandler Rivers, but let's hit the height weight thing real quick because that is one of the things that would keep him out of the first round, top 40 picks or so, top 50 picks. He's 5'10, 185. So even though he's a player I really do like, when you get to the NFL levels, you just can't get around some of these height weight limitations for some of these players, even though they may have a fantastic skill set, work ethic, you name it. And he does. 5'10", 185. Keep that in mind as part of the parameters of our discussion. All right, number one, aggressive. This guy is very aggressive, and you can count on it. That's an attitude and a mindset I like to see out of defensive backs, and he's got it in spades. He's a playmaker and a ball hawk. And I'm not necessarily suggesting that he is going to rack up a ton of interceptions at the NFL level, but this is a guy who loves to make plays on the football. And he really does. He seems to have a nose for it. And again, that doesn't always translate to interceptions, but he really does seem to have a nose for playmaker, ball hawk. It does seem to pop up a good bit when he's out there. He's a blitzer. You can use him off the edge, and not all cornerbacks have the ability, the instincts for that to actually wrap around and finish. He seems to have that. He seems to have the ability off of the edge when blitzing to time it right and to get all the way home to the quarterback or the running back. Sometimes it's a run blitz. He's got the ability to do that. So if you're looking for a defensive back who can move from the wide CB spot or the slot and get in and get some pressure, he can do that as well. He's got the speed, the straight line, and the instincts for that. Comfortable in the box. I'm going to touch on the tackling later specifically. He is very comfortable in the box, does not mind mixing it up, does not mind working his way through traffic, does not mind sticking his nose in there against obviously almost all bigger guys, does not mind getting after the running back. Okay, so very comfortable in the box, always looking to make an impact. It seems like every play, and listen, part of the life of a defensive back is you may get burned on one play and they may not throw at you again for 20 plays if they respect you, and a lot of people do. We'll talk about that here in a minute with Chandler Rivers. He doesn't seem to get bored out there. It seems like every play he's looking to make a play. And again, that's a real mindset and an attitude. He's not just out there to hang out and kind of hope people don't throw at him. He's looking to make a play. He has a nose for that, chasing down plays in different parts of the field. I really enjoy that mindset and that attitude. But he's more than just scrappy. He's a very smart player. You can see it when he's communicating out there. He almost takes on the mentality of a middle linebacker or a safety in that he's communicating, he's pointing, he's waving. He's very intelligent. You can see that out there on the play. Breaks quick on the ball. I don't know that he has the most cat-like reflex mirroring ability, but when a throw has been made in front of him, he breaks quick on the ball, breaks quick on screens, really does a great job of not letting those develop. He gets on them quick. So again, that's something else that I really did enjoy. Athletic. Seems to display long arms, good hands, and an excellent vertical jump. Now listen, if you're going to be 5'10 and you're going to play football, especially at the NFL level, which he projects to do, it helps a lot if you've got something else going for you. And when you watch him play, when you actually turn on the film, the tape, and you watch him play, you see longer arms than average for a guy his height. So that's going to help in the pass breakups. And then I think he's got an excellent vertical jump. We see the same thing with Mekhi Lemon over on the offensive side of the football. And Mekhi Lemon, by NFL standards, is vertically challenged, but he's got the vertical jump to support that. Chandler Rivers seems to have the same thing. So when you see 5'10", 185, granted, you don't want him lining up against T. Higgins or guys like that at the NFL level, but he can certainly handle, in theory at least, guys that are 2, 3, 4 inches taller than him, 6'1", 6'2", because it really does feel like he's got the longer arms and he's got the vertical jump to support that. Okay, so in his case, don't just let the 5'10" be the be all end all. I already mentioned very quick off the edge on blitzes. And I mentioned you might not want him guarding the biggest wide receivers at the NFL level, but he did it consistently and effectively in college. There is plenty of tape of him at Duke, both the past 2 seasons, 24 and 25, consistently guarding people out there at wide CB. Okay. And I get that it's the ACC and that it's not the Southeastern Conference and it's not the Big Ten. And that's a valid point, but you still see him covering bigger receivers and good receivers out there at the ACC level and doing it very effectively. So I really liked Chandler Rivers' work out there. Listen, he's probably going to play a lot of slot at the NFL level, but you can feel comfortable. Long arms, the vertical jump, and with what we've seen on tape, you can feel comfortable moving him out there to wide CB for a lot of plays there at the NFL level. I feel like he can even move back in some cases, rotating right to zones in some of the safety levels. He seems to have the intelligence level to play those safety spots as well. So I do see the flexibility there. Does not stay blocked and often out physicals wide receivers on screen plays and run plays. I'm telling you what, it has gotten to be a very large deal in college football, but even more so at the pro level for wide receivers that can block on so many of these screens and jet sweeps. I mean, it has just gotten to be a very big deal. And it's an equally big deal for defensive backs that won't stay blocked. And Chandler Rivers usually does not stay blocked. I can't tell you how many times on tape I saw him breaking up potential blocks, which then breaks up the screens that they're trying to set. You know, how many times do we not only see the screens, but the three wide receivers off to one side, right? We see the trips, and basically the two wide receivers push forward with semi blocking, and the one wide receiver just takes a step back. Excuse me. And all it takes is one defensive back to skip the block and bust that up. Chandler Rivers can do that. You know, you can rest assured that he's going to fight through that and not stay blocked, even at the NFL level. The tackling was sloppy and inconsistent. I did note that. So while he doesn't stay blocked and while he's very aggressive and he doesn't let plays develop, the tackling on ball carriers that were already in motion, already had some steam and some momentum, he is sloppy at tackling those guys. Okay. So don't count on pristine tackling from Chandler Rivers. You're not going to see it. But on the flip side, he really did a great job of kind of keeping plays from bouncing outside. So the physicality that he's got, he can set the edge, as it were, out there, not on the end of the line, but as a defensive back out there on the boundary. He's not going to get blocked and let people scoot by him. He's going to seal that off. He's going to chase that back to the inside where he's got his help. And that's a really big deal, folks. Just count on that when you see him. Really love that, even though the tackling itself is somewhat sloppy and inconsistent when the guys have momentum. A couple of game tapes for you to go look at. When they played Ole Miss back in the 24 Gator Bowl, Jackson Dart only threw the ball at him one time the whole game. And the reason for that, there's just easier places to throw the football. Okay. And Ole Miss had a couple of pretty good receivers in that game, and Chandler Rivers was guarding them a fair amount. Jackson Dart only went after him one time in that Gator Bowl. Same thing for the Illinois game early in 2025. Altmaier only threw at him twice. Excuse me, during that game. That there's a lot of that on tape. When you watch the Duke Blue Devils, it's not that nobody ever threw at Chandler Rivers, because of course they did. There's a lot of tape of quarterbacks throwing somewhere else because it was so much easier to pick on a different Duke defensive back. Chandler Rivers sitting right there, often guarding the team's best wide receiver, and quarterbacks not wanting to throw the football to his direction. Listen, he makes life hard on wide receivers. Quarterbacks avoid him constantly, and he looked good in both zone and man, and that's always something you look for, right? We know some guys are only good when they're able to press cover, and that's fine. When there's some guys that are only good in zone, that's fine. He looked like he could handle himself in both zone and man. This is not a guy I would recommend people draft in the top 40 or 50 picks. I think the height limits that. And I also mentioned I don't think he has the elite mirroring cat-like skills that you would look for in a first round defensive back. This is a guy, though, starting mid-second round that you can validly consider to upgrade the defensive back room, play a lot of slot at the NFL level, and play a lot of wide CB and can even flex over. I think he's got the skill set to flex over to safety. I think he's got the intelligence and the speed there to do that as well. So somewhere between middle of the second round all the way to early third round, I think is a great spot for Chandler Rivers. I think teams can very much look forward to having a legit defensive back here. All right, so sorry about my throat tonight. This is like the third show we're doing, so we're struggling a little bit dry here. But thank you so much for being a part. This is the Box Score Network, and have a great one. Good night.